This is Bam Bam, and welcome to the Rusinka Show. This is Bam Bam's takes and reactions.
This is the Rules and Cats Show. Bam Bam calling shots like a maestro. This is the Rules and Cats Show, where the wild and the crazy grow. Turn it up, feel the rhythm flow. Hustle by Bam Bam, let's go, let's go.
This part is the reactions. Man, the things that going on in Minnesota is just unbelievable. For example, let's take Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. Minneapolis is what Donald Trump calls a hellhole, infestation of fraud, like literally infestation of fraud. I'm not even kidding you. $500 million. I mean, and then she was actually on CNN on Wednesday, asked, hey, give us your take on the ICE operations targeting Somali immigrants in Minnesota underway. So what would you say about that? Take a listen to this.
Can you shed any light on why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of
Third parties to facilitate? You can't even condemn those people that actually did the fraud? Somalians just like you. That's why it's so hard for you to answer, because when you know that it's only your people in your town and they're your friends and people who you go to mosque or whatever you go to pray or do your thing religiously, no offense, you can't even condemn the people who actually perpetrate. You're gonna blame the COVID. Wow, what a cop out. COVID, yeah, it's COVID's fault. Oh man, I can't go to work for the next half a year. COVID. Just ridiculous, bro.
the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
A lot of guardrails did not get set up properly. Let's look at how many claims and what is this fraud. What is she even talking about, this fraudster stuff? Let's take a look. So I just went to a DOJ or justice.gov, Department of Justice website, and look at this. Former president and CEO of Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce pleads guilty to fraud. Minneapolis nonprofit director charged with fraud. I mean, how corrupt is this state? This is insane. And this was what? Munan Weiss Fidhin, 44. He was charged in a 10-count indictment with 3 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of federal program bribery, and 3 counts of money laundering for her role in feeding our future fraud scheme, announced acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson. Fidhin is the 75th defendant charged in this scheme. Wow. Here we got a list of defendants involved in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. Includes individuals who were charged with embezzling federal funds meant to feed underprivileged children. And here are some of the notable defendants and their roles in the scheme. Amy Abak, Haji Osman Salat, Sharmar Kher Isa, Abjubijin Hussein. And here's the list of everyone who actually has been convicted. Not charged, but convicted. That's 44 people already. And there was a guy who tried to bribe a juror for $120,000 in cash. Beckham Merdasa, Hadif Yusuf Ahmed, Hana Mariken, Abdul Abukakara Ali, Anab Awad, Liban Yasin Ali Shaya, Mulal Ali, Mohammed Ali Hussein, Lul Bashir Ali, Abdukal Awale, Kamar Hassan, Abdikari Kakidi, Yusuf Ali, Sahra Noor, Fleezen Hassan, Ahmed Sharif Osmar Hassan, Sharon Ross. Maybe Sharon Ross, one name that's not from Somalia. Hada Abli Abidi, Abdiziz Farah. Brothers and sisters, huh? Mukhtar Sharif, Sharmarka Isa, Haji Salad, good salad. Kadra Abdi, Kavzra Shama, Alexander Hussein, Abdul Jabbar Hussein, Jamzam Jama, Mustafa Jama, Asja Jama. Oh, the whole family got in on this one. We got brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, grandmas, and grandpas. Come on, join. We got money for everyone. Fraud, fraud, fraud. Free, free, free. Everybody gets free. You guys get the picture, yo. It's insane, man. And that Ilan Omar wouldn't even condemn that it's in her religion, in her ethnicity where they come from, and they were transferring money back to Somalia, taking away from Americans and needy children. That is just so appalling. It's insane. In Minneapolis, federal authorities say investigators found half of the immigration cases in Minnesota, including H-1B visas, 5 fiancé visas, and the Ukrainian humanitarian parole program, are fraudulent. Oh, what do you know? According to a statement from the United States Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Wow. New York Post asked, what did Ilan Omar know about the $1 billion welfare fraud case in her Minnesota district? In her own district, that's right. So the New York Post publishes U.S. Representative Ilan Omar's close ties to the $1 billion welfare scam in her Minnesota congressional district are being uncovered. Omar, Democrat Minnesota, held parties at one of the key restaurants named in the fraud, knew one of its now convicted owners, and one of her own staffers has also been convicted, both for stealing millions and millions of dollars. Can we see some beautiful pictures of them? We can? Oh, wow. Oh, Ilan Omar with her helpers. Omar, New York Post says, she even introduced the bill that led to $250 million in fraud. And she claims that she has been completely unaware of it.
The president's obsession with me and the Somali community.
The president's obsession with me and Somali community, with a fake ass smile, frauding the American people for $1 billion with her community. She's a disgrace, man. Always wanting to go, saying that, oh, she wish she would live in Somalia. It's so beautiful there. I can't wait till I take my children there and we are gonna live next to you people in Somalia. You're talking to people who ran away from there because they know they weren't born here or came here at an early age, that they don't know anything what's going on over there. They know exactly what's going on, just like I know how USSR was. They know exactly what's happening there, and none of them are gonna go back with you to go raise your kids there. You're in the greatest country of the world. No other country has prospered as much as the United States of America. Love this nation. I can't believe. Okay, she wants to focus on
Really
Trump.
unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. It sounds like he's trying to deflect from the failures that he's had as president.
The failures that he had as president. How many wars? How many conflicts has he stopped? Inflation stopped going up. I mean, the inflation that Biden brought to this nation is just unprecedented. It's just insane. But he is actually doing America first, not America second, or America maybe. He's doing America first. Show me what you have done. Oh, yeah, you passed a bill that actually, yeah, you were advocating for that bill that $250 million of fraud was involved with who? Your own staffer? The restaurants you eat at? The director there or the manager? Everyone surrounding you in your own community. Just fraudsters, liars, and they don't even speak English.
His immigration rates are not going in the way that he's expected.
Immigration rates are not going as he's expected. Man, put that fake ass smile away. Come on. That's why so many news channels keep on covering.
Really have a lot of people who are undocumented. Majority of us came to the United States with a refugee status, which means you come in with documentation. And it means that we get our green card within a year, and within 5 years, we are citizens, and we have.
Yes, those are the documented immigrants like yourself and like myself. We're talking about illegal aliens. They didn't come here, they weren't vetted. And you know that. And still, you want to play that game.
The highest number of immigrants of any kind in the United States when it comes to achieving that citizenship.
I came across this article by The Signal, Santa Clarita Valley, how Minnesota's Somali fraud exploded. And what do you know? What do you know? Amy Bach, founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Feeding Our Future, arrived at the Minneapolis Federal Courthouse. This was taken in March 19, 2025. Just to show you a picture of her. When 200 federal agents raided dozens of Minnesota homes and businesses on January 20th, policy analyst Bill Glant took notice. So did a lot of other people at first. The initial blast of news coverage trumpeted an emerging multi-million-dollar welfare fraud scandal. Then, however, it just vanished from the radar, he says. Most media outlets didn't want to cover it. And why, you may ask? Well, he stayed around for 4 years looking around and trying to figure out why nobody wants to cover it. And boom, he finds the answer. He covers for 4 years, he's following them. He finds a whole portfolio of fraud. He has documented nearly $662 million in fraud losses on the Minnesota Scandal Tracker. He works for an employer called Center of the American Experiment, a public policy nonprofit in Minneapolis. Yet, federal prosecutors say welfare schemes have reaped billions of dollars in taxpayers' money. Most of the defendants charged are of Somali heritage, a fact that has been taboo to report, Glant said. Even after dozens of Somalis were convicted in Minnesota welfare fraud cases, fear of facing allegations of racism deterred whistleblowers, news outlets, and public officials who dared to raise concerns about fraud among Somalians. He said, thus the problem didn't get the attention it deserved. When it happens, people of your own background or wherever you came from, which country, it doesn't matter. If it's in your community and you have that fraud virus growing and growing, yeah, you got to call it out. If it's the Russians, it's the Russians. If it's blacks, it's the blacks. If it's the whites, it's the whites. If it's the Middle Easterns, who are the only people who keep on yelling Allah Akbar and then commit a murder and blow themselves up? If they're over only one place, if they believe in only one religion, if it's the same religion over and over again, and no other religion is actually calling it out, I'm sorry to say, but you have to call it out. You can't be afraid of getting labeled as racist or religious or whatever you want to put it. These are Somalis in Somali community. They don't even speak English, some of them, or lots of them. All they know is how to fraud. Free, free, free. Everything for free. Everybody free. And if you look at the governor, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, he appears to be facing headwinds over the scandals as he seeks re-election for a third term in office. But a newly released Think in Minnesota poll shows that 56% of respondents don't think he's done enough to prevent fraud in Minnesota. And half of the respondents said fraud will be a major factor in their vote governor next year. So, whilst in the past he has denounced some fraudulent use of welfare dollars, but made no comments absolutely about recent firestorm because it involves Somalis. And now that there is a majority of them, they can vote for him. So he's not going to be taking any jobs except at who? None other but Donald J. Trump for his actions. Come on. And what did Trump do when he heard that Al Shabaab was getting some of that money down back in Somalia? Whew. He cut off deportation protections for Somalis in Minnesota that federal prosecutors admit they lack the manpower to charge everyone involved. concerns over the federal child care assistance program being vulnerable to fraud date to 2009, according to 2019 Minnesota report. Specific concerns about Somali-run child care programs in Minnesota exploiting those weaknesses surfaced around 2016. Minnesota whistleblower and some media organizations were reporting that up to 100 million was being stolen via fraudulent child care billing. Those reports also alleged the stolen money was funding terrorist organizations in Somalia. The Office of Legislative Auditor was able to prove that about 6 million a year was lost to fraudulent child care billing. The special review was unable to substantiate the terrorism funding allegations, but cited factors that showed it was plausible. Nearly all the defendants scandal were from the Somali community. So they talked to each other, they knew each other, they hung together, they played games, did things together. They went into business together to fraud the American people and the American government. 78 people have been accused, and nearly 60 have been convicted already. And if you ask, why would they go to a place where it snows and is super, super cold with unforgiving winters? Well, the word has spread that Minnesota is an inviting place with generous social programs and a history of welcoming immigrants by a large number. So Minnesota became a home to the nation's largest Somali community. Casey Mogan says that uh, from investigating so many fraud cases, the reason he believes that so many Somalis were caught up in this fraud is because he says, quote, "My experience as a fraud investigator has taught me that fraud occurs when desire meets opportunity," end quote. The reason that it was hard to catch fraud in Minnesota is because fraud catching systems are mostly designed to root out recipient fraud, he said. It is exceedingly difficult to guard against providers who collude with the recipients, which is the type of fraud that most pervasive in the Somali community. And fraudsters also took advantage of the feckless fear that establishment politicians and state agencies show when confronted with charges of racism or Islamophobia, he wrote in the column last year. People are so afraid of calling out whoever the community is. It doesn't matter who it is, Somalis, Afghans, Russians, Lithuanians, Europeans. It does not matter one bit. But if it happens in that specific community, it needs to be called out. Can't be afraid of being called out an Islamophobe or whatever, racist. That's insane. You want us to become like Europe? Politicians, wake up. You want to look like Europe soon? Yeah. Keep on being fearful of getting labeled as a racist or an Islamophobe. This country will totally, totally lose its number one status in the world as being the greatest of them all if it becomes anything but a Christian nation. It was founded on Christian principles. No one can deny it. No one can argue with that. Just look at your dollar in your pocket and then tell me, and what does it say? Does it say, "In Allah we trust"? Or what does it say? "In who do we trust"? "In God we trust." Here's the list of everyone who has been convicted in the Feeding Our Future case. And remember, this is just one fraudulent case in that whole community. They got mountains of cases and it's all fraud. Look at some of these people, man, who have been convicted through a guilty plea or at the trial. So they either said yes, they're guilty, or at the trial they lost and they're found guilty. Look at this, BamBam Merdasa, a shell company that used Feeding Our Future as its sponsor. BamBam pleaded guilty on October 20th count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Collected $3 million in federal food aid money by claiming that he served 1.3 million meals between 2020 December and June 2021. Man, that's just... Man, these guys... Some Hadif Yusuf Hamed. I'm not even gonna apologize for that pronunciation, man. He deserves... He pleaded on October 13th to one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He admitted to accepting $1 million in kickbacks. Wow. He said he was feeding 2,000 children a day. Hannah Markagegen owned the Brava cafe shop. She pleaded guilty, and she said she received $7.1 million in federal Wow. She also admitted to giving more than 150,000 in bribes to feeding our future employees in exchange for enrolling her restaurant in the food programs. She made a mistake, guys. The 7 million that I received, it was a mistake. I apologize. Look at my tears. Now that I got caught, I am actually sorry. I made a mistake. But if I never would have get caught, it wouldn't be a mistake. Nope, no mistake here. It's only because I got caught. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can you guys forgive me, please? Look at Abdullah Bukakarakali. He co-ran the Youth Inventors Lab, food side, and he said that he claimed to serve 1.3 million meals because he received 3 million in federal food aid money. Anna Babwat, 53, headed the nonprofit multiple community services. She pleaded guilty to one count of fire fraud, obtaining 9.3 million. It was supposed to serve 3.8 million meals. Abdul Kaldir Salah, 38, pleaded guilty to one count of wire fraud. Abdul was the co-owner of Safari Restaurant, a former Minneapolis restaurant that prosecutors allege was used as a food site and a food vendor, and receiving 16 million in fraudulent funds. Abdul Kaldir agreed to pay 5.5 million in restitution and served between 9 and 11 and a half years in prison. A former aide to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, Abdi Salah, pleaded guilty to one count of wire fraud, pocketing more than $1 million in fraudulent federal funds. Zamzan Jama, 50 years old, pleaded guilty to money laundering, and he was participating in Brava restaurants defrauding of the federal food program through Feeding Our Future. He deposited nearly 2 million in federal food aid money and used it for personal purchases such as 2021 Toyota RAV4 vehicle. Mustafa Jama, another one, pleaded guilty for money laundering and got nearly 2 million in federal money. And he made lots of personal purchases such as Lakeville home and a Mediterranean coastal property in Turkey. Asha Shama, 42, $2 million in federal money, which filled and paid for her lavish style and personal purchases, including toward a home in Lakeville and a home in Rochester. Not one home, but she needs a home in Lakeville, another in Rochester, because, they're making those millions. Money, 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 paper, paper, money, money, got the millions coming in. Ahmed, 35, pleaded guilty for money laundering, and she admitted using her restaurant, Evergreen Grocery in Delhi, to defraud the government. She claimed her restaurant served 3,250 children a day, earning 4.2 million and keeping 1.4 million to herself. Wow. She admitted laundering $1.1 million on foreign textile and trading companies and spending thousands on clothes from Burberry, Louis Vuitton, and Canada Goose. Whoa, man, gotta look in style when I defraud the government. Abdikadir Anishi Mohammed. Of course, he pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Man, this guy got more than 5 mil. Salim Saeed was convicted by jurors of all counts against him on March 19th after weeks of testimony. Prosecutors said that the businesses he worked with fraudulently collected around $30 million. He received about 5.5 million just for himself, used it to buy a $1 million mansion in Plymouth and several luxury vehicles. These guys just love that money when it comes free, free, free. Money, money, money. Man, if you look at some other news and things that are on CNN headlines and other things, man, I just can't believe what is happening over there. The CNN publishes, they put war crime and then colon, White House confirms second strike on alleged drug boat after blast. So what it's trying to say in that title is that a war crime has been confirmed because the White House confirms there was a second strike on alleged drug boat. Some other Democrats, what are they saying? They're saying that, hey, shipwreck survivors, Democrats, shipwreck survivors, how could you blast them? If you're gonna call them a terrorist and then you're gonna actually call in a strike and to blow up the boat, and then if there are any survivors from that boat, even if they're trying to get back on it to take off again, to make it to their end of America, bringing all the drugs to the United States, but because they survived, they're not terrorists anymore, or drug smugglers, or criminals. They are they are a shipwreck survivors, guys. Shipwreck survivors. These guys are just losing their mind. I'm telling you, we're gonna look like Europe if we're not already starting to look like Europe, like UK. Pierce Morgan's trying to say that no, it's not that bad. You can come and walk through all these cities in UK. All that stuff is just false information. He even compares the Christian extremists or radicals, compares them with Islam extremist radicalists. You can't even put the two and two together. Pierce Morgan just totally lost his mind. What a crackhead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Suleiman Adhan, Suleiman. Last name Adhan, Adan. I'm the Deputy Executive Director here at CARE Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We are standing together today because our community is living through a moment where I wouldn't even say it's 4 days in. It seems like forever. Myself and my team and those behind me have been inundated with calls. The person we have speaking here today is Jailani Hussein, the Executive Director of CARE Minnesota.
Hey, you notice how they gotta spell out their names? Because they got Achbit Hamkhmur Hamri Khali Ali. They gotta spell out every single name because, man, nobody will remember what their names are.
Today we want to announce some initiatives that we are asking Minnesotans and others to get involved in an effort to respond to not only the attacks from the president, but what's been also happening on social media. That today we do not recognize the pizza as an Italian thing, we recognize it as an Italian-American idea. In fact, it is so American that most people forgot the idea that it's an Italian cuisine that every single American.
And what did you bring? Italians brought pizza. We can eat. What'd you bring? Fraud after fraud after fraud. Free, free, free. Just take it from you. Take it from all of the Americans. Free, free, free. Not feed the children. They knew what they were doing. They were claiming straight up, knowing that this money is supposed to go towards kids, hungry kids. When they saw that they could actually claim it and nobody will find out, and I can keep these millions, I can become a millionaire. Oh my God. Hey, Bobby, or Ali Muhammad Ali. To understand, we can make money for free, millions of dollars, free, free, free. Like Mandani is saying, we can have free millions. Come over, I'll show you how.
My name is Habon Abdulle, Habon, last name Abdulle. When our community is supported, our entire state grows stronger. We need leaders who will stand up and stand strong, who are willing to call out harmful rhetoric.
An entire community. We are standing together, we are organizing ourselves, and we don't let anyone to demonize and to humiliate. Bravely, I'm watching other elected officials, if they are not complicit with the racism comes from Washington.
Man, what the are you saying, dude? Together, all these people are for fraud. Stand together with our community. Because Trump is racist? That's your case? to make a Somali Heritage Month, and your case is that Trump is racist. TDS, talk about Trump derangement syndrome. Oh my goodness. These guys cannot even condemn that people in their own community, because they were probably part of it anyway. So how they can condemn their community or part of their, well, not part, large number of their community committing fraud. And those are the only the people that actually got caught. What about all the other ones that we'll still hear about? Probably see one of these guys or a couple of these people in handcuffs soon. And the only thing they can say is that Washington, D.C. is racist, Trump is racist, trying to put all the attention towards Trump and none on the actual problem in their own community, that there are lots of them because they see the opportunity and they just take it because they think that they can get away with it. It's absurd. None of them are even calling any of those criminals out. Absurd and pathetic, man.
So we need to stand together in solidarity and be able to say, you attack one of us, you attack all of us. We are communities of faith. We are communities of solidarity.
You're a community of fraud.
It seems that some in Washington
And you're
would
standing
think
up
that,
for fraudsters.
nobody would respond if I'm going to attack a community for no reason. The vast majority of all of the Somali
For
people
no
in
reason?
this country, many in Minnesota, there is no reason. This is a frivolous use of tax dollars because there is nothing to find here except
He said there is nothing to find here. The feds found and convicted 60 people already of fraud. Almost $1 billion. Mr. Pastor.